The trailer for Megan's cooking show, documentary, whatever you want to call it, was released yesterday. And I did an analysis that's kind of a big picture overview. But in this video, I want to talk about the specific words that she and her guests used during the trailer. The reason I want to talk about this is because the trailer is about a minute and 40 seconds or so. So every single second was critical and chosen for a purpose. I think we can see a lot of Megan's narcissism, allegedly and in my opinion, shine through in this trailer. I grew up with a malignant narcissist stepmom, and it is because of this experience that I focus so much on words. So, in this video, what I will do first is I will talk about children of narcissistic parents and the development of this heightened sensitivity to the words people use, the reasons it happens. And then I'll dive into the words that Megan used throughout the trailer and the words that her guests used. So, if this sounds interesting to you, please sit back, relax, let's get into it. But before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. So I was just saying that children of narcissistic parents, they often develop this heightened sensitivity to the words that people use, and it has to do with the dynamics of growing up in an emotionally volatile and manipulative environment. So here are a couple of reasons why this sensitivity can occur. Typically, and in my experience, words are a tool of control. Words were used to manipulate, criticize, and gaslight children. For example, parents might give praise with hidden barbs or make promises they never intended to keep. This teaches the child to dissect language for hidden meanings. And as a result, children become hypervigilant. They constantly analyze words to protect themselves from emotional harm or to anticipate their parents' reactions. And I have to say that this is the reason why I focus so much on words, even to this day. Narcissistic parents are unpredictable, and their emotional states swing dramatically back and forth. Children learn to pick up on subtle verbal cues that might signal anger, disappointment, or manipulation that may lie ahead. This hyper awareness of the speech becomes a survival mechanism because children want to avoid conflict or win approval of the narcissistic parents, and they do this by listening to the nuances of the words that the parents use. In households like this, there's frequent gaslighting. So, narcissistic parents might deny events, they'll twist facts, or invalidate the children's feelings, leading the children to question their own reality. And as a result, children scrutinize words very closely to discern the truth, to detect inconsistencies, and to validate their own experiences. The children also seek parental validation. Narcissistic parents give love and approval conditionally based on the child meeting their expectations. And because of this, the child has a deep craving for validation. So they listen carefully for any indication of approval or affection in an attempt to feel valued. And the same goes for rejection or criticism. Narcissistic parents may use harsh language or subtle digs to undermine their child's confidence. And because of this, children become highly attuned to negative words or tones, fearing rejection or punishment. They might replay conversations in their heads, analyzing where things might have gone wrong. Children that grow up in these kinds of households also have a hyper awareness of power dynamics. Narcissistic parents often assert dominance through language, making children acutely aware of how words can wield influence. Children learn to pay close attention to how people phrase things and who holds conversational power, and they try to determine if their words align with their intention. These children also develop a heightened ability to understand others' emotions. So they develop a lot of empathy that carries into adulthood, and they're hyper attuned to the nuances in people's words. So all of these things contribute to the reason why I pay so much attention to the words that are used. And I think in this specific example, we know that every single second of this trailer was purposeful. And because of that, these words that are chosen are critical and can give us Megan's character and also the tone she sets with the people around her. Okay, so now let's get into the trailer at hand. The first words we hear Megan say is when she is coming out of what looks like a pantry and she says, "Let's go." This phrase, even though it's simple, it sets Megan as the leader of the narrative. Let's go is not an invitation, it's a declaration of authority. In my opinion, this is positioning herself as the figurehead, the driver of the action, and that everyone else is meant to follow. The next statement she makes is I always love taking something ordinary and elevating it. Megan frames herself as someone who sees potential where others might not. It reflects her desire to show the world that she is unique, presenting herself as someone who can elevate the mundane to something extraordinary. It implies an unspoken superiority. She can see value where others might overlook it. We then see Megan preparing a cake, it looks like, and she says, surprising people with moments to let them know that I was thinking of them. So it's interesting to me that she has to surprising people with moments to let them know I was thinking of them. So this is not an action she does normally. This is something that is going to surprise the people around her. However, I believe her intention with this phrase is to paint herself as thoughtful and empathetic. It also centers on Megan's actions. I was thinking of them. The focus isn't on the recipients or their experiences, but on Megan's effort and how these people will receive and perceive Megan's effort. In my opinion, these gestures are not out of kindness, but as a means of control or to garner admiration. She's then beginning to walk through a flower shop, it looks like, and she says the statement, I'm going to share some tips and tricks. In this statement, she's also taking on the role of the leader as the expert and the guide. To me, she is showing the world, or she is trying to show the world, that she is a source of knowledge or inspiration, and it reinforces this narrative in her head of self importance. And all of this is allegedly, and in my opinion, and I want to say I may not get the exact phrases directly as they were said in the Netflix documentary, but it should be pretty close. At this point now, she's looking at some flowers and she says, I see what color I gravitate to and I take it from there. This statement seems harmless, but it reflects a pattern, centering decision making and creativity around her personal preferences. So these choices, for example, the design of a floral bouquet or the presentation of food, these are artistic and subjective. But Megan seems to be framing it in a way that she is the ultimate tastemaker and trendsetter, even though these are choices that people have different preferences. For example, I really like bright flowers. I would not have chosen the bouquet that she's showing here. In fact, it's not just okay, in my opinion, I don't like the bouquet because of the colors and it's lopsided. There's no symmetry in this bouquet. But, anyways, I'm not here to criticize what she believes is beautiful because, in her head, in her mind, those are her preferences. She believes that is beautiful. So, not everyone has the same taste, and that's okay. The next thing she says is that this is about connecting with friends. This frames her project as social and communal, which seems warm and inviting. But I think this could be interpreted as a way to ensure relationships and activities revolve around her interests and contributions. And I think this translates into her day to day life and is probably one of the main reasons why her and Harry are so isolated. The person that we're seeing in the documentary, although Megan, and this is true of narcissists in general, they really want the world to perceive them in a certain way. So they are in very tight control of the image that they put out there. That image that Megan is showing us through this Netflix trailer and in the future, the documentary, is the image that she's also showing her friends or any other people that she is trying to involve in her social circle. Then she says, I love that we're doing this for the first time. I think that this was chosen to frame Megan as relatable and approachable, but it also positions herself as pioneering, doing something for the first time and inviting others to join in her discovery process. Then she says, we're not in the pursuit of perfection, we're in the pursuit of joy. In my opinion, this statement is not true at all. Megan is on the pursuit for perfection, or at least the appearance of perfection. So already this statement is a false statement. But why would she say it? By aligning herself with joy rather than perfection, she's deflecting potential scrutiny by trying to show that her approach is more enlightened. It's a clever way to position herself as morally superior without directly claiming it. She then says love is in the details. And this is the very last statement that she makes. This could be to tie in with the title of the documentary, which is With Love, Meghan. So that could be the reason why this is the last phrase in the trailer, but it positions Megan as someone who cares deeply and adds value. This closing statement reinforces this mindfulness and attention to detail that Megan has. It tries to present Megan as someone who cares deeply and adds value in ways that other people might overlook, again, showing this superiority that she feels over others, allegedly, and in my opinion. This statement, I think, is also trying to highlight her exceptional qualities. When she says love is in the details, she is saying that she cares about the details, and therefore there's love in everything she does because she cares about the details. However, if she cared about the details, why are her clothes never ironed? Oh my gosh. Someone who cares about the details should care about all the details. So I think through these statements, Megan is curating this image of herself as thoughtful, creative, relatable. But I think if you view this as statements made by a narcissist, it takes on a different tone. And the tone that's coming across to me is one of control, self promotion, and strategic narrative building. I believe that Megan truly sees herself as all of these things: creative, relatable, and thoughtful. She's a great friend. She has great style. And this is ultimately a project where now she wants to show the whole world how talented she is in gardening, in cooking, and in entertaining. So to me, these words are calculated. I'm curious to know what you all think about this, so feel free to drop that in the comments. Okay, so now let's get into the statements that her guests have said. And there aren't many, there are three, I believe, of them. Mindy Kaling says the statement, one of the most glamorous moments of my life. This statement seems innocent, but it actually shows several things. It reinforces this idea that being associated with Meghan is a high point, glamorous, it's transformative, and it aligns with the need of Meghan for admiration and validation. It presents Meghan's presence as extraordinary, and I believe it is exactly for this reason that Meghan is so gleeful as soon as this statement is said. She actually seeks a lot of external validation. She lives for these types of comments. So whether or not Mindy may have been exaggerating, Meghan would take this literally because she truly believes she's amazing and that, eating sponge cake in someone else's kitchen, literally someone else's kitchen, because it's not even Meghan's kitchen, is one of the most extraordinary things that could happen. Okay, so then we have Roy Choi, I believe that's his name. He is cooking with Meghan in the kitchen, and he says, "We're family now." So why did Meghan choose this statement to be in her short, under 2 minutes long trailer? She has been criticized for the lack of family. She's isolated from both her mom's and dad's side of the family. She's also isolated Harry from his family. So I think Meghan is trying to show that she has intimacy and closeness with several people or many people that are around her. It also tries to show Meghan as a unifier and that she fosters deep connections. For a narcissist, cultivating this image of being central to relationships serves as a way to control and influence over those around them. It also creates this false sense of intimacy. I am curious to know how this scene actually played out that Roy Choi makes this statement. I wonder how long they've been cooking and what actually inspires him to make this statement. But just based on Meghan's choice, the reason she chose this, in my opinion, is to show the world that she has family. It's just not the conventional family that we think of. And then finally, I think it's Abigail Spencer who says, "I have to do it totally wrong before I can get it right." All of Meghan's statements have been of perfection and not making a mistake. The only time that imperfection is discussed is when someone else admits to not always getting it right. So, in my opinion, Meghan uses this statement to show that she's ultimately the teacher, that she knows that other people get it totally wrong and that they need to come to her so she can help them get it totally right. The video that plays right after this is when she's helping another lady, and I don't know who it is, to flip a pan over. with whatever content is in it. And notice Megan is the fixer. Megan is not the one that made the mistake. The other lady is the one that's holding the pan. But Megan comes in to be the rescuer and the savior. So, what this does is it subtly ensures that even others' imperfection are part of Megan's story and that their successes are because Megan helped them succeed. So, I'm curious to know what you all think about this. Do you see the connections that I'm making? I know that I pay very, very close attention to the words that people use. I think it's incredibly telling, especially when you know that you're dealing with a narcissist because everything is so controlled and purposeful. At least in my experience, that's what I've observed. We know, though, because this trailer is only 2 minutes long, every single word, every single second of this trailer was chosen for a purpose. And it's up to us to really look into these words that are being said and try to read between the lines about the message that's actually coming across. So I'm interested to know in what you all think about this. So feel free to drop that in the comments. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you listening, and I will talk to you all soon. Goodbye.